listening to the Good Shepherd podcast, real life stories from the people of Wolverhampton.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Good Shepherd podcast. I'm delighted to say we've taken the podcast out on the road today to the David Lloyd Health Club in Dudley. There's a reason for that, which we'll go into during the podcast. But first, let's welcome our guests. Lee Smith is the operations manager of the Good Shepherd, who joined the charity last August after spending 16 years working for Wolves Foundation, the official charity of Wolves Football Club. Welcome, Lee.
Thank you.
16 years is right, isn't it?
Yeah, 16 long years.
Good stuff. I'm sure we'll be chatting about that shortly. And Niamh Norton is a Blaze supervisor here at the David Lloyd Club in Dudley, who's going to chat to us about some of the activities that take place here and the benefits they can bring to mental and physical health. So welcome, Niamh.
Thank you.
And thanks very much for hosting us today. Good. We are here because of a special fundraising challenge which is taking place on Saturday, July the 6th here at David Lloyd, which we'll get into shortly. But first of all, if we just find a bit out about our two guests. So Lee, 9 months, I think, now into your role at the Good Shepherd. Just chat to us about how that's going and your motivation for joining the charity, because obviously with the foundation, you've got a real charitable focus to your career, haven't you?
Yeah. So, started back in September. So it's going really well. Every day, though, is a learning day for me still. So even though I've worked in the charitable sector for quite some years, it's a totally different environment, different sector. So even today, this morning at an event, absolutely every day is a learning day at the moment. But yeah, settling in really well. Staff, service users, everyone's just fantastic. So it's helped a lot, and we've made some huge changes in my 9 months. We're progressing. We've already, myself and Tom, have got lots and lots of ideas every single day. We seem to have something else that we could probably explore and move into. So yeah, it's been really, really positive. In terms of my motivation to be here, as you just mentioned, I was at Wolves Foundation for 16 years, which at the time when I left, I said I went in there a boy and came out of a man. Just learned so much during my time at the foundation, which we worked with Good Shepherd a lot, so Molyneux Sleep Out, other workshops, such as we did graffiti through one of the projects at Wolves Foundation on the side of the Good Shepherd building. So yeah, there was a lot of link up there, and obviously got to know some staff such as Tom during that time. But then also my daughter Rose is very, very passionate and almost to the point at a young age couldn't understand why people can be homeless, why that is allowed to happen. So she's raised nearly £2,000 altogether now for Good Shepherd.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
As gutted as she was when I said I was going to leave Wolves Foundation because she loved me being there, when I told her that it was the Good Shepherd, she did a little fist pump when she found out. So yeah, she was my big supporter to move across after such a long time.
Fabulous. And you're going to sort of put your money where your mouth is, I think that's the phrase, by this fundraising challenge, which we're going to talk about a bit later on, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I've got to set an example, but also Francesca's raised 2,000.
Competition's going, yeah.
I need to get moving, don't I? So.
Brilliant. Fabulous. Well, thank you for that. And Niamh, a bit about yourself and your sort of career background, if that's okay. And is this an area, I know you're Blaze supervisor, but it's health. Have you always been interested in that?
Yes. My background's very varied. I started off in life and pensions and insurance, living in Bristol, and then moved up here when I met my partner, and stayed within that sector. But fitness had always been a huge part of it. I was very lucky. I grew up with it, didn't know any different. Would always be at the sports centre with my mum, would be running track, would be doing aerobics classes in my leotard and my leg warmer.
Yeah.
It was just such a positive thing, and it always has been throughout my life. And I feel very grateful to both my parents for just making it an everyday thing. It's not something I have to force myself to do. I'm very lucky. It's something I really love doing. We do have off days, but more good days than off days. And I just love all the benefits you get from it. So I've got into teaching actually classes quite when I was nearly 40, so 10 years ago, well, just over 10 years ago. And it was one of those things I'd always aspired to do as a child. I would see this aerobic instructor and think, wow,
That could be me, yeah.
But I was not that person to stand at the front of a room. That's like my worst nightmare, having like all these people looking at me. And I thought, when I got to 40, I thought, if I don't do this, I'm going to be so disappointed with myself. So I just bit the bullet. I did some exercise to music courses, and that was it then. That just got the ball rolling. So I've been teaching exercise classes, like exercise to music classes, for the last 10 years, through lots of places. I am just based at David Lloyd now, but I used to go all over being self-employed. And then 2 years ago, when they announced we were getting Blaze here, they advertised for a Blaze supervisor, so I just went for it. Again, jumping out of my safety net, thinking, right, I'm going to have a go at this, and got it. And I've not looked back. I absolutely love it.
Brilliant.
It's such a buzz doing it, and the members are so passionate about it, which makes my job easy. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It brings me a lot of joy, and doesn't always feel like a job.
No.
It's I'm very, very.
If you enjoy it, that's what they say, isn't it? You never work a day in your life if you enjoy what you're doing. So yeah.
And to be miserable.
No.
Yeah, it's not the way. So I'm very, very lucky. So yeah, coming up for our 2-year anniversary. End of July is when we'll have officially been open 2 years. But yeah,
Brilliant.
It's had a lot of use since then.
But good. I mean, it's quite interesting. You've both taken a bit of a leap of faith in a way, that you were 16 years at one place and moved to another, and you complete career change, but something you're really interested in. I guess it shows the value sometimes of kind of making that big decision, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, 16 years at Wolves, I wasn't actively looking to leave at all, but when the opportunity came, then again, just to push myself out of my comfort zone, and I'm always wanting to do that, always wanting to see how I can sort of improve, progress, etc. And that was a big thing for me, and the organisation itself and what it does. I'm always going to be passionate in whatever role I do moving forward, and have done is something that has an impact to help and support people. I think if I did any other job that didn't have that outcome, I think I'd last about 3 months before I got bored, I think. So I'd always want to do something that has that outcome.
And that's the thing, I guess, for you, Niamh, you've followed your dreams almost, and obviously no regrets of that decision 10 years ago. And
made some great friends along the way. Like almost every member that you come in contact with becomes someone that they either impact your life or you impact their life, and it just seems in such a positive way. And it's not just about the classes; it's about those interactions outside of the classes. Huge difference.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of community that we have here, and we're really lucky at Dudley. We've got amazing members. We've got such a nice mix as well of all ages, all abilities, but everybody's very welcoming, really welcoming. I think it's an awesome club.
So I was going to ask you about that, all ages, all abilities. I guess the beauty of a place like this, so many different activities you can do, but beginners are made to feel just as welcome as those like Lee that are absolutely...
I was a beginner.
Well, this is it. Yeah, everybody's always a beginner. But I mean, and that's the thing, the value that you get out of physical exercise and in terms of mental health as well. I mean, that's off the scale, isn't it? Yeah.
The physical benefits are the obvious ones, aren't they? You know, the maintaining weight and cardio-vascular health, all those sort of things. But it is much more, especially nowadays, more about the mental health. Way more about them, you know, and those social connections. I mean, I do listen to a lot of podcasts. Bit of a podcast addict. And like you listen to them and they say about like we're actually now in a loneliness epidemic. Like, how have we got to that point? That's crazy. You know what I mean? People not having those connections, and this place.
Yeah.
You know, and Blaze, especially, we've got a great community. We've got a little Blaze tribe going, and we welcome everybody into it. Like nobody's excluded. But in the club, we have that as well. All the classes, we're very, very lucky. But those connections are huge. And just taking that step, because it can be really intimidating for people coming into a gym or a class for the first time. So, you know, that's a big deal for some people. But we're lucky the members make them feel very welcome. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Love those benefits.
I think like coming from a similar background to me, because I've always been involved in sport, played football, whatever other sports was possible, playing out in the streets, for example, and just constantly doing things. And then started at Wolves Foundation as a football coach, and worked different roles throughout that 16 years. So I've always understood the importance for the physical health, but yeah, definitely, I think exercise can, for your mental health, as Niamh just said, is absolutely huge, and it's not the solution to your mental health. If you're struggling with mental health, it's not a solution. It's not going to cure you, but I think it gives you the tools, and there's so many different tools it has. So before I came here, actually in between, because I had a busy morning this morning at an event before coming here, it's like very, very manic. So just took a 10-minute walk, just slow it down, gives you that walking in an environment where you're with nature, all of the science behind that, and it just slows you down a little bit. You can think about what I was going to maybe say in this, for example, but then you go into the gym, and then you're, say, lifting weights, and then a month down the line you're lifting a heavier weight, so you're achieving something. So sometimes where life can be a bit like you're just doing the same cycle, like exercise can give you that, a goal, a target, something that's really, really clear. As Niamh said, there's a, whether it be a gym or a football team or a netball team and any other team sports, there's a community within that, so you're not alone. Like you end up like picking up conversations that are away from exercise. But then you take Blaze, for example, and for 45 minutes, it's so intense that, and especially when I'm doing a Blaze games, for example, community games or something like that, you are pushing yourself that much. All you can think about is what's right in front of you at that point. So it almost gets you off the, what I would call like a hamster wheel, because you can just be in life. Life's so quick, fast paced now, and everything on demand. You can easily be spinning this wheel, and you think everything's so important. You take that 45 minutes out of just doing that Blaze, for example, exercise that's so intense, and doing that, you come out and you think, oh, actually, what I was worried about earlier is not that bad, because you take that time away from it. So I think it has so many different tools that it can give within exercise. So,
brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, Niamh, you spoke about a loneliness epidemic, and the fact, I think people are talking more and more about mental health over the last probably 10, 20 years, which is obviously really important. I mean, have you noticed that in these 10 years that you've worked in the field? And
not just within this job.
Yeah.
Really, from growing up with exercise, at one point it was, especially sort of the 80s, 90s, it was all about the physical benefits of exercise. That was all people were bothered about, looking a certain way or lifting a certain weight. It was purely physical. Whereas now, that's massively shifted away from that. Yeah, the physical side's important. We all want to look after our bones, want to keep ourselves strong and healthy. It's like insurance for old age. And that's the difference as well. It's not about the right here and now. It's about 10, 20, 30 years down the line, when you're 70 or 80, and you want to be strong, fit and well. It's okay getting to these ages, but you want to be good for that age, don't you? So you're sort of setting things in place now. So the physical side is still important. The mental side, it's talked about so much now, which is really, really important. I just think there's so much you can get from it.
It probably pushes people to come here, doesn't it, and to exercise, because they're hearing you can talk about your mental health and you can admit to it and come and do something about it.
The amount of members I've spoken to, and it's funny, when you only see someone in a class for the first or second time, you just see them physically. But when you start to talk to them, which I do, I talk to anybody who is and I often just go into the club room, and if someone sat there, I'll go over and talk to them. I just interact with them. And the amount of people that have now shared with me different mental health problems that they're going through. And you don't see that, do you, when you look at someone? No. You don't think, okay, they're suffering with, you wouldn't know this unless they shared that with you. And it's awesome that they share that with you. I feel very privileged when someone actually tells me that they're struggling with this or that. Because that's a big deal. It's a big deal to open up and share that. It can make someone feel quite vulnerable. So it's a brave thing to do. But I love it when people do that. So it's a real positive.
That's what it's all about. And I think people like Niamh and other instructors and PTs and stuff, probably underestimated of how much people will share with them. But it's because when you're exercising, you put yourself in a vulnerable position anyway. You're setting yourself up to fail 90% of the time. You're going to fail. So you're putting yourself in that vulnerable position already, which means then you become comfortable with sharing with that person because they've seen you vulnerable. They've seen you collapsed on the floor or throwing up in a bin. Something like that. So
These are the stories coming out now.
Yeah, I've definitely had all of those moments. But yeah, so you've been in your most vulnerable at times. So why wouldn't you share with those people? So I think that, like Niamh, for example, is totally underestimated the importance of them for mental health.
Yeah, and it's Mental Health Awareness Week where we're meeting now, which is all about movements, which I guess this place, there's all sorts of different things you can do and different ways to move.
Something for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And like the club room, for example, here there's events on all the time, and it's the environment is set so you build a community.
Do you feel that as a member, obviously, that you, having been here for however many years, you do feel that it's not just the exercise you're doing, it's the friendships, the social interactions away from that as well?
So similar to Niamh, I've probably jumped around gyms over the years. Ones that, being totally honest, are a lot cheaper. But you jump around, one, because you probably, the reason why I came here in the first place was like, if I'm paying a good amount of money, I'm going to be more consistent with it. I know I'm going to want to use it. I don't want to waste my money. Whereas if you're throwing 10, 20 pounds a month, you're like, I maybe missed this month, it doesn't matter. But then also, quite quickly you learn you're part of a community, part of something. Like you come in and there's almost like a morning club. Anyone that comes before work and stuff, everyone just knows everybody, and then you sit down and have a coffee with people, and you actually build like business connections then and so on, like I have over the years. And Tom's a member here as well, so me and Tom would have catch-ups here over the years and in the club room and things like that. So yeah, definitely.
No, it's important. And I was going to say, just quickly before we chat about this big fundraising challenge, staff at the Good Shepherd have spoken. I mean, again, you'll have experienced this, about how exercise and getting out and about actually helps the clients to open up to them. Whereas if you sat in a room with someone, it's quite difficult to talk. It's quite clinical, isn't it? I mean, I guess in your experience already, you'll have seen that in action with the staff making real breakthroughs with people by getting outside, by walking and things like that.
Yeah, well, straight away you're changing your environment as you go in. So it's conversation starters. You could be walking along and you see something, and you start talking about that without it sort of being forced. Or you sit in a room and nothing changes, it's almost becomes scripted. You might have a piece of paper in front of it you need to ask some questions on, and it can feel a little bit forced. But yeah, just being out and about. Again, like I spoke about before, the being in an environment that's nature and you're feeling comfortable. You haven't got four walls feeling like you're closed in. So yeah, it's and it is like it's. Don't back me on the science, but I've heard on podcasts previously about the whole how it can, when you're exercising, it just doesn't it doesn't just exercise your physical muscles, but also obviously your brain muscle as well at the same time. So
brilliant. Let's get on to it then, the big challenge. I mean, first of all, before Lee explains what he's going to do, Niamh, I just think to the uninitiated, can you just take people through a Blaze session? So it might be people that have never been to a gym or people that have been to a gym but haven't had a Blaze. What's involved?
So it is just exclusive to David Lloyd's.
Yeah.
It's in its own purpose-built studio. It's very much about the atmosphere in there as well. So we've got lighting and sound that's designed around the class. It's a high-intensity interval class. That's what it comes down to. But we use three different modalities. We use cardio, we use strengthening, we use combat to take you through a workout. And it's not easy. There is nothing easy about a Blaze class.
No.
They're different every day. If you were to come in every day, we don't encourage that. We don't want people to come in every day. Twice a week, you'll get the benefits of HIIT training, allow yourself to recover, do something different, and then come back and do it again. That's the idea. But you can adjust it for everybody. I think if you look at the class through the window in the middle of a class, it can look crazy. It's a little bit, isn't it? Some of the stuff we throw at the members it can be a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
But when you actually stop and you look and really take in what's happening in there, you'll see there's different ages. My average age in there is 45.
Oh, right, okay.
My oldest member who comes in his 70s.
Wow.
He cannot do it all, but he does as much as he can, and he has a great work. And we do have members in there who are working through, injuries.
Mm-hmm.
We can adapt things. We can still let them come and do blaze, even with those things we need to take into consideration. So that I give people no excuse to come to blaze, because I just think the buzz you get from doing it, like right in the middle of the class, you do feel like you're dying a little.
Yeah.
But that feeling at the end, those endorphins, like, oh man, it's worth it, isn't it, for that?
Yeah,
and like Lee says, you just totally get out your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
You cannot think about he doesn't.
No.
Lee thinks about nothing when he's in there, even what I'm telling him.
Yeah. He's not listening, but yeah.
He's not listening. But that's because he's totally in the workout and he's in that moment right there. So to think about something that I've shown him in 5 minutes' time, he's forgotten it because he's just in that moment. So the class is amazing for that. And although people aren't smiling at me at the middle of it, by the end of it, I don't think anybody doesn't live without a smile on their face. It's such an achievement. It's such a buzz. It's just the best.
Brilliant.
I think on average I burn something like 650 calories, leave a nice sweat ball.
Oh, you do. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So it is pretty hardcore. But as Niamh said, so my mother-in-law does it, who's nearly 70 years old.
Yeah.
And prior to probably blazing her coming here, had every excuse under the sun not to exercise, not to go and do structured exercise anyway. But she'll go into the class and do what she can in there as well. But it is very.
It hooks you in pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is straight away. Like people see me walking out in through the club room and they're like, "Oh, you look blazing." Obviously, I'm not looking the best.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, "Oh no, you should do it," and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to because look at you."
Yeah.
But then once they've done a couple, they find it amazing.
Is that your experience? Obviously, I think it's 2 years you've been doing it now since it came to the club. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's so many, and again because it is the three different. There's the cardio, the strength, and then the combat. It's not that it gets people away from going in the gym and doing the stereotypical, like they're unsure at first what to do on the weight, so they'll just walk or run on the treadmills, and that is so boring. You have to be really mentally strong to be able to run for an hour on a treadmill because you're not going anywhere, looking at the same thing over and over again, but this breaks it up really, really well. So you do work harder, and as I say,
3 workouts in one almost.
Yeah,
perhaps to an extent.
In a short time as well. So, this is, having played football at quite a good level. This is the closest, if not more intense than a football match for the time period that you do, and the closest, as I say, the closest I can get to that same fitness level. So,
and the competitive element, because you've just taken part on behalf of representing David Lloyd in the Blaze Community Games. Just
amazing.
Yeah. So this weekend we were down at Rains Park in Wimbledon. So there was the top 10 teams.
About for 700.
Yeah.
Teams
Brilliant.
entered.
Yeah.
So it's a massive. We're super proud of them.
Yeah. So we didn't win this year, but hopefully we'll be back there again next
year.
That's it.
Got some experience in the bank. So Saturday, July the 6th, here at the David Lloyd in Dudley. Just explain to us, now we've explained Blaze. Tell us what crazy thing you're going to be doing that day.
It's a little crazy.
Yeah.
So, July the 6th, we've already had to put it back because I had a slight knee injury. We're going to do 8 Blaze sessions back to back.
When you say we, you mean you?
Yeah.
But obviously, people can join in, which we'll chat about. But you're going to do 8 hours of it.
Yeah, so I'm going to do, it's going to be open to, which we'll move on to, it's going to be open to anyone that can jump in to simpler sessions. I wouldn't wish the 8 sessions on anyone else. I'm going to attempt to do the 8 sessions back to back. So that'll be 8 45-minute sessions. So yeah, it was when I said it, I always do this, and I'll say, oh yeah, that's fine, I'll do that, and then the more you think about it, the harder you realise how hard it is going to be. But I want to do something that is really, really challenging. One for myself, and as I spoke about earlier in the podcast, that wanting to push myself out of my comfort zone all the time, and how am I going to improve and things like that. But I want this to be a good fundraiser. So I think if I said I was going to do 2 or 3 back to back, it probably wouldn't resonate with people of how hard it could be. So like, I want to do something that is really going to be a push and a challenge, both physically and mentally. So hopefully that will encourage more people to donate and even just come along and get involved. But we'll have staff around as well in the club that day, so just to educate more members of what Good Shepherd's all about, and all the different opportunities and projects. So,
what do you make of that then, Niamh? 8 hours on the spin.
When you said it to me, I was like I said to you before, we usually recommend people do plays twice a week.
Okay, yeah.
With a good 48 hours in between each session. We do occasionally get the odd member that will maybe do 2 back-to-back, like some nights we do back-to-back classes. We don't encourage people to do that.
No.
Really, you wanna push yourself as hard as you can for that one class, and then let your body recover. So 8 is a lot. I think Lee's done 2 back-to-back.
Yeah.
Once?
Yeah, maximum.
Once? Twice?
Yeah, I mean, in the build-up of when we thought we were going to do it before, I think there was about 3 or 4 weeks. I did some back-to-back classes.
And that's tough, isn't it?
Preparation. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's 2.
Yeah.
You've got another 6 to add on to that.
Yeah.
And he's also not going to know what's coming. Because every single template, we're going to make sure, because especially for Lee, we're doing all 8, that they're different.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the monotony is going to set in and he's going to know what's coming. And I think we want to keep him out of his own head.
Yeah.
So we're going to make sure we keep mixing them up, and we're going to throw in stuff that's going to help with the other course that you guys will talk about after. So yeah, I don't know if he knows what he's letting himself.
No.
I mean, I'm super proud of him for doing it.
Yeah.
So realistically, we can get 24 members in one class at a time, and we want to encourage as many.
Yeah.
If you think there's 8 sessions, with as many people.
It's a lot of slots, yeah. Oh, yeah.
People, if they want to come and do 2 or 3, I can't imagine anybody will willingly offer to do 8 with Lee. even his best mates.
I think they offered it first.
Oh, they
and then took it back. Yeah.
We've been talking about it. They realised how hard it is. They were like, "Oh, maybe we'll come for the first and the last one." But yeah, Francesca wants to get involved as well.
Yeah.
At some point in the day. So
totally.
Yeah.
Get her in there.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Anybody can come and join in for an hour if they can. If they see fit. Yeah.
Anybody, and if there is people that are linked to Good Shepherd, but not a member for that day, we have a lane reserved, so they can get in touch with us.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we can find a space for them throughout the day to come and try blazers.
And again, they don't have to have done it before. They can just come and sample it, and you might get hooked just as you have done, I suppose. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So will you be advising him in the build-up, or can you kind of, as much as it? No, that was why I asked the question almost. But no.
I think it's just being prepared on the day.
Yeah. It's that challenge. Yeah.
I mean, we can deliver the class and we can keep an eye on him, which we 100% will.
Yeah.
But it's up to Lee. Like, he's got to keep himself hydrated. He's got to stay fueled. He's got to 8 HIIT sessions back to back. I can't think of anything more difficult, honestly. Not within a gym environment. People swim for charity, they run for charity, but HIIT sessions and combat. We know how to, you spend 3 minutes in each of those zones. So each round, 3 minutes on treads, 3 minutes in strength, 3 minutes in combat. That's one round. So he has to do that 3 times for one class. He's then going to do that 8 times. Are you not a little bit scared?
He's gone quiet. Yeah.
Not scared, and I think again, as we've just spoke about, I'll just
push through.
I'll face it when it comes to it. I'll just constantly be facing what's 5 yards in front of me, and think about it like that. I think if I do same as life in general, I think if you think about things that are too far ahead anyway, it can be scary. I think if you keep thinking 5 yards in front, 5 yards in front, 5 yards in front, all of a sudden, 8 blaze classes down.
It's done and dusted, yeah. And I guess, as we said, there will be, you are going to have a little break in between. And as you say, the hydration, the food and all that, you can make sure that you're, that's the point,
And that is what that 15.
I think if someone can donate a mop, that
brilliant. And it is, you know, for everyone else potentially, but not for Lee. But no, it sounds brilliant. And it's part as well, I think, about miles into meals, which the Good Shepherd are going to do again this year. And I think probably the Good Shepherd are going to try and condense it into sort of a month to 6 weeks. So during Blaze, you can keep an eye on how many miles or how many distance you've covered. Is that right?
So on the treadmills, it tracks how many kilometres you've covered. And so I think on an average Blaze, it's anything between 4 and 7 kilometres, but depending on what the template is and what you're doing in that session. So what we'll do is after each Blaze class, we'll take a count of all the treadmills, note it up on a pad or somewhere, and then just keep tallying that up throughout the 8 sessions. So hopefully be able to clock quite a few miles.
I think that's the thing. Miles into meals, it's for people to do whatever they want, whether it's walking, swimming, jogging, and that. But I guess this, as you said before, Niamh, you can come along to Blaze, even if you've never done it before, and you're still going to contribute to the miles to meals because you're going to cover some form of distance, aren't you? So,
even if they walk,
the
whole thing.
It's playing a part, isn't it? So,
absolutely.
And in terms of the David Lloyd and Dudley and Niamh and all the staff here, I mean, it's incredible that they're helping out and doing their bit for the Good Shepherd in this way as well, isn't it? And giving up a Saturday, you know, and
well, that's a big thing. Like it's 9 till 5 essentially on a Saturday. So, for the club, for Niamh, for the other instructors that'll support on the day as well. Just really thankful that I can do something like this because, they don't have to. So, just a big thank you to Niamh especially, but the whole club to be able to facilitate this. It is really, really generous.
So I think you've talked about it being a community, Niamh. Is it important for the club to do something like this and to support not just Lee but the charity as well? I can imagine.
Jump on board with them. We do the big charities, but do you know what? The ones, the little ones, the little ones. You know it has more of an impact on. We've already done a few this year, so this is really awesome that we can get involved with something so close to us. And also, I don't think, because until I talked to Lee, I didn't know an awful lot about you guys.
No.
So I think it's going to be huge, to make use of the space outside the Blaze studio, use it to put some displays up, get people noticing about it. And especially, it's just using the whole of 8 hours. I mean, you know how busy a club is on a Saturday morning with all the families coming in, all the kids, all that. We're going to get a lot of footfall, especially through that, probably from the 9 till probably 1 or 2 o'clock, and then it will start staff. But that's a huge window, a huge audience that we can put this charity in front of, and I think that's going to be awesome. For you guys just to
pass out the information. No, absolutely, and that's
be there to talk to.
Because I think that's the thing. Good Shepherd, it's the food service is what it's known for, but as you know, Lee, there's so much more to it.
The values are awesome. They're not just values that are associated with the charity. They're like values that we should all have, on a day-to-day, aren't they? So I think it'll
resonate with people, won't it? So no, it should be good. So we'll put all the information on the post with the podcast of if you just want to donate, you can donate. But the details, if you want to get involved, if you want to come along, and to the members, obviously, there'll be people from the Good Shepherd here to chat about. So if we just leave it with a final word to both of you, then how much, if looking forward is the right word, but the benefits, and I know probably that day is going to be a struggle, but again, just chat again, the benefits of what you do here, Lee, and how it helps you in your life, but then the challenge as well, how much you're looking forward to it.
As I said, anything that challenges me is something I look forward to. It's probably going to be painful, but it is going to be painful. But what will get me through is I know it's something I've not done before, maybe not do again. But it's really good, but it's for who it's for as well. I think if I wasn't passionate about who it was going to support and how it's going to help, I wouldn't be doing taking the whole Saturday out, for example, when it's probably going to be a nice day outside, to be in a play studio doing 8 sessions back to back. But yeah, as I said, like our mission, the ending homelessness, supporting recovery, pathways out of poverty, I think, and taking, for what I said earlier, like take yourself back to childhood, and that comment that Francesca made of not understanding what people should be. No one should be homeless, rough sleeping, be struggling more than everyone should have the equal opportunity to succeed, and that's what this money will do.
Absolutely. And Niamh, I think, as you said, it's a vibrant club, as a community feel. It promises to be promises to be a special day, doesn't it? I know he's going to be struggling, but for everyone else, yeah.
Don't worry, and I will send those to you. But no, I think he'll smash it. Whatever Lee puts his mind to, he will give it everything. And also, when I think, like he said, it's such an awesome cause. Like, that's really the biggest motivator, isn't it? You know, that end goal. So it's not just about his name.
No. It's about the final picture, isn't it? Yeah.
We'll probably donate.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you want to see, you can donate per picture of Lee looking in absolute agony. We can sort that out. Brilliant. But yeah, no, it should be a great day. And again,
I think it'd be awesome. I'm very excited. We've never done anything probably charity-wise for, oh gosh, back in the day, I think we did a 10-hour combat class on tennis courts, but I'm talking like 20 years ago. And since then, I don't think we've done anything for that sort of period of time. So I think it's going to be really good fun.
Brilliant. Well, thanks again. Yeah.
You guys here and getting your name out there.
Well, that's it. I think everyone for the Good Shepherd really appreciates what David Lloyd are doing as well. So, yeah, we look forward to it. We'll carry some more updates up to the big day and then see how it goes.
Yeah, lots of opportunities to donate.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for having us here, Niamh, today, and to Lee. Really enjoyed chatting to you, and let's see how it goes on the 6th. Brilliant. Thanks both. Cheers.